I'm a woman, and I hope like women will not be offended by what I'm about to say. But the truth is, a lot of women are not willing to put in the work that is required to get these things that we're trying to achieve, right?
Welcome to another episode of The Perspective with the Rayven, where we have real-life conversations about the journey and what our experiences have taught us so far. So today, I'm with a good friend of mine, a business mogul, an entrepreneur, and a community builder, Jade.
Hi, Jaffa.
Drum roll. How's it going? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, I'm happy that we're finally having this.
Finally.
Yeah. We're talking about we're going to have this conversation behind the cameras. But But I think it's not too bad still.
Either way will flow.
I like that. So, but how's everything? How's life? How's the hustle?
It's good. It's stressful,
I can
but
imagine.
We move ultimately.
Yeah. But then I know because we're talking behind the scenes, and you're telling me that you've always been passionate about building and creating things. Right?
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize that was a thing for you?
That's a good question. I would say I've always had drive naturally.
Okay.
I just never had the opportunity to show or an outlet in which to push it through. So when we started Yellow Door and Living Room, I was like, oh wait, this is it. I've been trying to do this all my life, and this is my chance to pour it into this thing. So I've always had the drive in me, essentially. But in terms of pouring in and building, I know you asked and you said it seems like I started getting creative or doing creative things in the last couple of months, but it's always been that way, just never put that information out there. So what is different now is that I'm now putting a bit more of what we do out there.
Is it like a confidence thing? Are you more confident? Is that why you're doing it out there, or?
Am I more confident? My husband is going to hate that I say this, but I don't like being in front of the camera. I hate it. So my natural default position is to be behind the scenes and run it from there. Is where I'm most comfortable. And I realized that especially in Nigeria, if you don't put yourself out there, it means you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So
show workings.
You have to show workings. So me putting myself out there more and doing more, showing more of what we do behind the scenes was just to let people, I guess it was just to give insights into what we've been doing the last 5-6 years anyway.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I'm curious about the names of your businesses, right? They seem like a bit intentional. What is Yellow Door?
Okay. All right, so Yellow Door is, we're becoming a chain of boutique hotels.
Okay.
And the name behind it was more so of a branding play.
Okay.
So the first building that we did, some of the doors are outward facing, so you can potentially see it from the road. And we thought about ways, I'm so sorry, allergies. We thought about ways to capture the audience, right? And we thought about a colored door. It was actually my partner's idea. Yes. And we thought about different colors, green, red, blue. Actually, no, yellow. Yellow is happy. And yellow catches your attention. Right. Our mantra is spreading happiness. And part of that from your experience from the gates, you start to feel what we want you to feel. And the door being yellow just is that extra, is the cherry on top, right? It's the pop, yeah. So you open your door and then you really enter your oasis of happiness. So it starts from outside.
Nice. Because I've been around some of your properties as well. But I like that it has a very clean aesthetic. Simple. You're not trying to do too much. Is that a personality thing, or is it a business decision, or a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both, but it's more so personality. Even my house, that's how it is. Very minimalist, but pops of color and just life. I like clean, simple. I think clean and simple is timeless.
Yeah, of course.
So I've been to spaces where, no offense to anybody that's putting flowers everywhere, but you have big flower walls and whatnot, and by the next season it feels dated.
It's off.
Yeah, it's off. So, but with our space, it's clean, it's minimalist, and you can switch things around and keep the space fresh.
Nice, yeah.
So that's the general idea.
So your space is very movable.
Yeah, exactly.
Very movable. So
exactly.
So is it one of those things that it depends on who's coming in? So the guests will kind of decide what the experience means to them? Or?
Not necessarily. So we switch things up often, especially for Yellow Door. So for instance, there are movable things like the rugs, the throw pillows, the pillows on the bed. The idea behind that is as entrepreneurs and people that are starting businesses, you kind of need fresh air. You need freshness,
Right.
right? So keep it clean. Keep it in a space where you can come and think and process and be motivated as well. Because when you walk in, people often say that there's something about this space that makes me motivated to do work, right? So that was the intentionality behind it as well. You come, it's clean, it's airy, it's fresh, it smells nice. You can do some work, you can eat and network. Yeah.
Because it feels like a filter. It's one of those places that wouldn't appeal to everybody, and and that's great too.
I love it.
You know, because I could tell that was intentional as well. Yeah. It's like, so what you said about when I walk in there, one of the things I know, I feel like I have to be serious. Do you know what I mean? I can play around, but then I have to be serious because I'm looking at people around me. I'm looking at how they're seated. I'm just like, oh my God, I have to.
You have to be serious.
And I like that as well. But I also, what I find interesting as well is like the way that your businesses evolve as people's needs evolve, right? Like, not a lot of people pay attention.
Yeah.
But that might be costly sometimes, no?
Very, 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 very costly. I mean, for both businesses. But let me touch something. Living room, yes, when you walk in initially, the idea is to be serious. Not necessarily, right? So we've introduced things to kind of allow people to wind down as well, right? So on Fridays, we have something called Hikimi, which is... You came late.
I've been following it. It's like it's fun. I was going to touch on like I see that like you've evolved into experience creation as well because I see like every now and then you're having events and stuff, and also the space in front is very multifunctional.
It is very multifunctional. We have different events. People book spaces for events, and we have some in-house as well. But I think we create the space that we would like essentially when we go to places. So I want to be able to go somewhere and work, and in the evening it's chill, and we can go out and we can drink and we can mingle and do the stuff and it's still within our comfort zone. I don't have to step outside of my hotel room. You want a place where you can come, get work done, and in the evening it's a whole different vibe, and it's chill and it's calm and continue to network and get to know people and like minds. I like that you mentioned it filters people.
No,
I love this. That was my biggest prayer, because again, the wrong crowd can mess up your whole business, right?
Of course.
And the people that we're trying to appeal to are the people that have come to us naturally, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like I feel like when you're very clear about like what your value proposition is and what you offer, like you don't need to chase, you attract.
Exactly.
And that's the sense that I get from how you guys go about business as well. And to me, I've been a fan. Right, I've been watching the evolution, and it made sense. But then when I walked in, it really made sense.
Okay, thank you.
Because sometimes you have ideas of how you want to go about it, and you want to communicate in a certain way, but then it doesn't translate that way.
Yes.
But then I see this. But what I like as well is the energy of your staff, right? And for me, like that's one of the major things about hospitality, right? Like, though it's my first time, or when it was the first time I came with my wife, and like they made it feel like we've always been guests. So it's like, how do you feel like this is your first time at the same time you feel like you're home at the same time? And I feel like that it says a lot, right? Because I know hospitality isn't.
Man.
So what are some of the challenges that you, because also I know that you lived a lot of your life outside Nigeria, right? And there's a way that like all the places that you've lived, what is obtainable work-wise and relationship-wise, how's that transition been?
I mean, thank you for the compliments. I'm happy that the staff are carrying the vision as well, because it's difficult to sometimes monitor what they're doing, but very often we do get feedback saying, hey, like your guys have really gone over and beyond, and that's kind of what we want every guest to experience when they come through the doors. The transition.
The other doors?
The transition has been, I mean, at this point, I've been here, 2013?
Oof.
Yeah, 12 years.
You're a veteran now.
I'm a veteran now. It's kind of scary. So I think I came December 2013. So I've been here for all of this while. I mean, still travel back and forth, but this is my home, technically. It's interesting. So I wasn't born here. I was born in America. I was raised there. I went to school there. But I came to Nigeria for about 3 years. And in that period, obviously I wasn't serious back then now. Like what attracted me to Nigeria was the fact that I could go clubbing and I was like 13.
Or you can have fun.
I could have fun and I didn't have to show any ID and I was just having a good time, right? So I was like, I must come back to this country was what I was saying to myself at that age. And I don't know if my sister is going to come at me for saying this, but so she moved back to Nigeria about 5 years before I did. And it seemed like she had everything going on, right? Like Nigeria was a place to be. So she came to visit us one summer and I checked her bag and she had like wad of like cash.
Like, why are you
Benjamin's. I was like, how far? What's going on in Nigeria? And she was like, yeah, you know, she was working in the government at the time, and it just seemed like this was a place to be, right? And since that day, I was like, nah, once I'm done with school, I'm going back to Nigeria, right? And very foolish thoughts at the time because there was no bearing, no basis. I just saw money. I was like, that's a place you can make money.
just
let's go. So what happened was she had said, you know, like hampers were a thing at the time, right? So I was like, yeah, I work at Nordstrom. We wrap gift boxes for a living.
to make your money in Nigeria.
I'm coming to make my money in Nigeria. My friends had applied to companies. They had gotten their offer letters. And I was a bit panicky, but I was like, nah, I'm better than you guys because I'm going to Nigeria where I've seen the money, you know. And maybe a month before graduation, I called my sister just to check in, like, hey, remember, I'm coming through to Nigeria. And she's like, maybe we should just work in America for a bit. And I was like, work? I said, I've not applied to any jobs now. Like, may have been applying 6 months ago. Like, I knew I was coming to Nigeria. Why don't you say anything sooner? And she's like, look, you have to just work and get some experience before you come to Nigeria. I was like, no. What else can I do? Please, I have to come. So the hamper business wasn't, I don't know, there's some issues behind it. Maybe who she was working with at the time. And she was like, I don't know, try cakes. Cakes are now a thing. So I was like, I studied economics for the last 4 years to come bake some cakes. No wahala. I booked a course. I went to New York that weekend to learn how to make cupcakes. In the pursuit of making it to Nigeria to blow. Whatever I needed to be done, I was ready. So I take the course. It was like a 3-day course. And, you know, there's a science to baking. Apparently, I didn't know at the time. So they were saying, depending on your altitude, you might need to reduce the temperature by 10 degrees.
Like, what is that?
Like, what's this? So I was just taking the, you know, very basic things I needed to know. Went back to Maryland and started baking. And it was a success. I'm like, all right, I'm ready for Nigeria.
Let's go.
I get to Nigeria, rest for like the first week. Following week, I buy materials to start baking. The first set of cupcakes I made, all of them in the middle dipped. And that was the whole altitude thing that I wasn't paying attention to in the class. So I was like, okay, let me try something else. Increase temperature, reduce all the cakes, a mess. So I told my sister, I'm like, well, it's not working now. So like, what do you do next? What do you do next? But you know, it was just the journey wasn't easy. It wasn't clear initially, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And from that day, it was both in different areas. Very difficult days sometimes, trying to figure out what am I supposed to be doing, right? There was this grand plan to come to Nigeria to do something, and it hasn't really panned out the way I expected. But then I guess I was just trusting the process as I was going along, and Yellow Door and Living Room came about.
Oh, that's really dope, man. I find a lot of your story relatable as well.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Nigeria, then went to do my master's, right? And I remember one day I'm just thinking to myself, so I had this wide idea that I could come and change Nigeria.
Yeah, of course.
And I remember
well, the ones that are going to change the country.
I remember speaking to my mom. My mom was like, Japo, you don't start. Like, worry woman. She's like, God, you're too philosophical, man. Just stay where you are. I was like, no, mom, like everything everything I'm trying to do has been done here, but like in Nigeria there's an opportunity. And I remember when I came back, I was just like, oh my God, right? In the job market, like I had like unrealistic ideas of what the salaries I could obtain would be and all that kind of stuff. And it was such an eye-opening experience, right? And I don't think people talk a lot about the kind of depression you can go into. Deep, because it's such a confusing thing, because there are ways people see you because of your international exposure, the expectation that they have of what you have or don't have. and you almost kind of have to keep up appearances, right? And I think for me, that was one of the toughest things. But I think you have to get to a point where you just say, you know what, this is my reality. Let me walk from where I am towards where you want to be. But you know the things that you've done, like, well, how have you navigated like relationships? You know, like I hear a lot of things about like, especially with women and females, about like the relationship workspace with women. Like, how's that been for you?
Yeah, women. I can speak to women that work for me, but you know, I don't really deal with women otherwise. That, well, there are some very good women, don't get me wrong,
of course,
that look out for you, right? I have a really good friend, her name is Ogbeh. She's the CEO of Electa, and she's just been amazing. She's a you're down and pulling you up type of, or like we're going together. There was something that we did at, or that she had going on at National Assembly. It was an art exhibition, and I was helping her, but I really just want to stay behind the scenes. But every moment she was looking back, she was like, "Where are you? Come! Where are you? Come!" Introducing you to people, and I found that it was such a commendable thing because it's never really happened to me from another woman.
Right.
So there are people out there, but it's not common.
Right. Yeah. A lot of them will feel threatened by it.
Yes, a lot of them feel threatened, exactly. But she was like, nope, we're in this thing together. It was her project, right? But she kept pulling me in.
So
like,
she didn't mind even sharing like the spotlight?
She didn't mind sharing the spotlight. She didn't mind at all.
But did that change like your impression on like working with women? Did that?
No, absolutely not. Because I know that there's still very few women that do it, right? Yeah.
No, because what I'm asking you this question is like, I remember, I think recently when, I think it was a Zenebank, and they had this new GM, whatever, and I saw the comments, right? 80% of the negative comments were coming from women.
From women, yeah.
And I was just like, why is that? You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like sometimes like the African women has been conditioned to believe that like they're not worthy of building things. So what happens when they see women build it? They don't believe it's possible. They think like, oh, you must have done.
Slept her way up.
Like for me, I was just like, why? Like, that's so crazy to me.
Yeah. So I find that what people, especially people that are negative, they're projecting how they're feeling onto you. And it has nothing to do with you. Right. So yeah, you might have to sleep your way up, but I actually busted my ass to get here. So that's a you problem. We're not the same. We're not the same. So
but then what do we do for like younger women coming up? You know what I mean? Like, and that's why like I'm very, when I see the things that you do and I see that you put it out there, for me it's commendable because women need to see other women do things, right? And I think also in the Nigerian context, it's like if you're a beautiful woman, there's almost this mindset that you don't have to work.
Yeah.
Right. And it's crazy because it's not a reality.
Yeah, it's not.
But then it's the kind of thing that put like a lot of beautiful women in uncomfortable situations in Nigeria. So like what would you say to a young girl there trying to find a way, right, in this crazy world? So what would you say to her?
So that's a very good question. I like to believe that I'm a part feminist. Yeah. I believe in getting things based on merit. Don't give it to me because I'm a woman, right? I'm a woman, and I hope that women will not be offended by what I'm about to say. But the truth is, a lot of women are not willing to put in the work that is required to get these things that we're trying to achieve, right? There are sleepless nights. You're working through, or you're pushing through what your body is doing naturally to have to show up, right? You're probably in pain. You still have to make appearances. You're tired. You still have to show up, right? Just because there's competition, however you want to put it, right? And the world is not fair. And in a world that isn't fair, how do you show up and represent drive your business, yourself, and in a place where you're already being judged because you're a woman by default? There's judgments, right? So how do you push past those things? And not a lot of women are ready to do those things. And I find it even as an employer of women as well. Yeah. Oh, we can't come today. My son, my neck, my back. And it's like, bro, I'm a woman and I push past these things. So, yes. And I feel like I can say this because I'm a woman. But when it comes from a man, obviously it's quite different.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah. So we have to also play our part. We're not going to get it just because we're a woman. And if you're expecting to get things just because you're a woman, I have nothing to say to you.
Amazing.
And this is coming from someone that busts her ass to get things. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. No, but like, to be honest, it's commendable what you've done. You know what I mean? Is a lot of people might assume that like you're very privileged and like, but then I've seen the work that you do, right? I've seen the work that you do, and I'm a big fan of it, and I'm happy that you're starting to like put it out there, right?
Yeah.
Because the truth about it, it's not just about you, right? Like, and that's what I got, and that's why I started to do this podcast, is because we underestimate the power of our own stories.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that Africa suffers from in general, because everyone else is telling our story for us. And then they can drag our stories in any other direction other than the truth.
Absolutely.
But then when you speak from your own experience, like, people can look at your story and say, you know what, if she can do it, right?
Yeah.
I can do it. So it's always refreshing to see that. So do you have like any plans for the future in terms of the yellow door and the living room? I know you're trying to expand.
Yeah.
Any teas?
So I mean, we've just set our plan and the strategy for how we grow.
Okay.
We want to grow Pan-African. So maybe a couple more locations in Abuja, maybe Lagos, and then we branch out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no other like city or state in Nigeria apart from.
Man. So to be honest, you're asking some of the difficulties in business. Personnel, especially in hospitality, is so difficult.
I can imagine.
It's so difficult to get people to come in and buy into the vision and interpret that to the guest experience. It takes a lot of things behind the scenes to get a guest to get us a waiter, a waitress, or guest service agent to serve you the way that you've commended now.
No, I know that. That's why like I commend you, because like I've consulted for a lot of people, and I know that like I've gone to a place where I called the owner to tell him, because I know the amount of work that he's put in. I've been there when he's doing the training, but then this staff is just doing whatever they want. You know what I mean? And you see it more in hospitality. And so some of my issues with things around hospitality and entertainment is because it's fun, people don't take it as seriously. Do you know what I mean? And so working in that space, so how do you maintain being firm? Because I see that like this, as I've been watching some of your videos, I see there's a lot of banter with you and your team, and I see there's a lot of respect as well, right? So how do you navigate that, like being firm and being friendly,
Okay. I've always been this way with regards to like leadership. I believe in like balance. One thing that I think I do subconsciously and strategically in hindsight is that I start off very strict. And then when you've proven that you're trustworthy, I can now dial it back a bit, and then we're now one big happy team. I don't say family, we're a team, because I can fire your ass tomorrow.
So like, don't get too comfortable.
Don't get too comfortable.
No, I like that, because I'm it's something that I struggle with as well. My team, as well as like, I feel like I went through a phase where I wanted to be a nice guy, right?
Not nice.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the greatest struggles for me, right? Is I felt like I had to almost lose myself in some capacity to get the job done. And that's never been my idea of doing work or doing business. You know,
That's funny, because I struggle with the same thing as well, right? It's like I naturally just want to be kind and do, make sure you're okay. But I just found that they were just taking the piss. They'll take advantage of.
So I think sometimes to them it translates to weakness.
Yes, exactly. So I don't see mumu. So I'm going to act accordingly. So when I peep game, I was like, all right, no, let's do it the reverse, right? And you just find that you need, when you're growing in a certain, when you're growing in your field, you need to arm yourselves with what is necessary to grow, right? And part of that is you're going to evolve. So yes, this isn't a part of me, but it kind of is now, right? It's part of who I am and what has shaped me and feeds into my leadership. So who you were 5 years ago is not who you're going to be today. And you're growing and you're learning, and life is throwing things at you, and you're putting on different armors as you're going on and you're growing. But deep down, that essence is still there.
All right. No, but then how do you, so with all the things that life is throwing at you, right? Like, yes, you want to evolve, right? But then it's like maintaining that essence. I don't know, like, it's, I'm saying this because there's a way that I see that you go about things, right? That is very smooth. But I know that's not what is happening in the back end. I know for a fact, right? Because like, if you've ever done anything in hospitality, you know the difficulties.
100%, yeah.
I mean, so like when I walked in, all the times I walked in, I'm coming with so many other people, I've sent them there, and it's like, the feedback is typically the same. But like, how do you transfer this?
Right.
No, it's true. Like it's something that I find very fascinating. How do you transfer it? Maybe you should do trainings and stuff for other people now.
Funny enough, I had a training today. So we're starting an academy. It's called YD Academy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there's been a problem, a suffering problem for so long. Let's just step in and try and fix it. Training. And funny enough, I didn't believe in training initially, because people will come and they'll drop that bill, 2 million, 3 million, or a 1 week training for how many staff, and you're like, for what now?
For what now?
But I now realized that there was a company, somebody came for an interview, and where he was coming from, they trained them every week. I think twice a week, every week. It was insane, right? But it made sense, because when you're dealing with human beings, you need to continue to hammer that thing in their head. Like, this is what we do here. This is why we do it here. You can do it anyhow when you're outside, but once you step foot into these doors, this is how we operate. Yeah.
Right. So you have to drum it in consistently.
Right. And the other thing with training is that people train and they leave it.
Yeah.
But the training is just the beginning. You have to continue to hammer those things into their heads every day subsequently, right? So you see something going wrong. Let's say you train that when you walk past the table, check to make sure the napkin is there. And you see somebody walk past and they don't check, and then there's no napkin. You have to call that out immediately. Right? Because if not, I've walked past this, there's no repercussion.
Okay.
Do day 2, day 3, and back to status quo. Yeah. So you have to put your checks in place. To make sure that what you're instilling is actually, and it's not easy to do, because again, you have work, you have stuff to do. Everybody has their different jobs and their JD. So who's actually checking? You hire somebody to check that they're doing their job. So what we found is that over time, like, we started with, let's say, like 5 staff. We're at 72 now, because you find that this person that has to do this one job, you have to split the JD into 3, because you can't even do, so it's just, yeah.
But then it's like, so what do you do when someone goes off the rail, right? Like, do you have like disciplinary actions or?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, straight. So in the laugh and joy, and I also don't play, right? Like, so you just never know what side you're going to get. So just on the side of caution for the most part.
So it keeps them on their toes.
It keeps them on their toes. And, I want to believe that Yellow Door and Living Room they're nice places to work, right? So there are benefits to working here. You feel at home. We actually care for you, right? There's people have come, we have staff that have been with us for like, since we started 5-6 years now, and they just, if you check my TikTok, that the ones on that, like, we believe in you and this and that, crazy people. But there's loyalty, because they know what we're doing here. They don't really get these same things or this same level of treatment elsewhere, right? So I messed this up, and you've messed up a good opportunity. There are still some ways, that standard. But the people that get it, and they stay, and we're constantly telling them, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We have these things today, and you can be something way greater tomorrow, right? Very big on giving back and ensuring people grow as well. So I don't expect you to come in as a cleaner and stay as a cleaner.
So there's opportunity for growth.
Opportunity for growth, and even if it means externally as well, like, I'll happily set that up for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, as long as you play your part.
Of course. Yeah. But this is really, really amazing, because I like, Nigeria makes you as an employer of labor sometimes just almost wicked.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then when you listen to the stories behind this, you know that like people have shown this.
I have stories for days. It's so funny, because even in putting myself out there, just showing the behind the scenes, I'm not even sure how much to show. There's so much madness, right? That people will just not believe.
They won't believe, like,
they're
dealing with. But like I said, like, you handled it really well. Thank you. So like, this your new training. What is
the
it
academy?
What's it called?
Why the academy?
Okay.
And we're focusing on hospitality. Obviously, that's where we thrive, and we've done well so far. So we have calls every other day. How far? Do you guys have anybody? We need a waiter. Do you have any extra? Do you have this? Can you train our guys? So we're just honing in on that.
That makes sense.
And that's actually the immediate next step for us.
No, because to be honest, it's a no-brainer, right? So that's part of why I wanted to even sit with you as well, because it's like, whatever it is that you're doing behind the scenes, I feel like a lot of people could do with that. Like, and it's not just even about training for the sake of it, right? It's also understanding what it is you're trying to achieve, right? Because I don't think it's like a one size fits all. So I feel like when I see the way that you work is like, I see there's also some sensitivity to what this particular staff can handle. So like, I see that you engage with them differently. So how does that mean? Do you have to know them personally too?
So in line with evolving as an entrepreneur, when they're giving you different hits here and there, I've had to change my strategy as well. So initially I was very open, right? And anybody could come and talk to me regardless of what level you are at. But obviously you can imagine the type of issues that will arise from that. People are bypassing their direct lines, come and report to me, and then I get involved and this and that. And it was also a lot of distraction, right? Which means that I couldn't focus on my actual work because I'm getting involved in stuff that your superior could have handled. So the guys that have been with me for the last 5-6 years, absolutely, we still engage on a certain level. But then anybody coming in newly, I'm starting to maintain some distance. Especially if you're trying to grow, I'm not going to be here all the time, right? Like, so I need to start to step back. I need to step back to see how this business functions if I'm not here, essentially. So that's kind of where I am with people. But I will still engage. You walk past, I greet everybody. How are you doing today? Is everything okay? So do check-ins.
Amazing, Jade. Wow, this has been very, very, very refreshing. Let's start with this our question. Let's see.
Nervous.
Nah, not at all. Like you, the way you've been answering every other thing is like you can do this in your sleep. You can do it in your sleep, okay? Let's see. It's a bit dramatic.
If I don't like it, I'm going to change my question.
Okay. We'll just do it.
Man, okay.
Okay. You have to read it out.
I will. I'm just trying to really, They're quite deep questions, man. Shout out to whoever wrote this.
Right. Yeah, like it.
Okay. Which thoughts have I nurtured like seeds, and which have I left untended? Very good question. So, I mean, we spoke about the struggles that, I guess at any given point, anybody's facing some difficult times. But I remember, and I've never said this out loud, to be honest, at some point, especially during trying to navigate what life meant, I remember about to go to bed one day, and obviously I'm not going to kill myself. I don't have the strength to, but I actually did pray to not wake up. Didn't answer my prayers, obviously. It was just too much at the time. And, as time went on, thoughts that I nurtured like seeds were thoughts of like positivity, right? Again, we're all going through something, right? So our biggest battle is in the mind. And once I figured out that my biggest struggle is in my mind, I started to feed it with positive thoughts. Affirmations, right? And for me, I do biblical affirmations, right? I'll wake up and I'll say, I'm light, I'm salt, I'm the head, I'm not the tail. So I'm whatever it is that I want in my life, I found scriptures from it and I apply it to my daily life and remind myself that I'm in a particular situation now. It doesn't mean that this is where my end is. And we're going through a season, we will get past it. So I nurture those thoughts. And, it might not look like it now, but you are the head and you're not the tail. Right. And Gentiles will come to your light and kings to the brightness of your rising. And I just continue to say those things and remind myself of who I am.
Yeah. Would you say like the entrepreneurship journey strengthened your faith? When things were working, you went to find God.
Yeah, I met someone who was going in. He was just starting his entrepreneurship journey in Nigeria, and he said he didn't believe in God. And I said, "Don't worry, and in 2 years we'll have this conversation again." Absolutely, 110% it did. I don't know how I would have done it without faith, especially being in Nigeria.
Yeah,
because there are some moments where you just don't know.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, right? Like,
am I doing everything you need to do, but then the outcome is still, or you be minding your business and the message that comes to me, you're like, how?
How? Like, how am I involved in this?
It's like,
so yeah, it definitely has strengthened my faith a lot. Yeah.
Just to add, let me just give my own take on this question.
Yes.
I feel
sorry, to answer the second part.
Okay.
Untended. Yeah, negativity.
Negativity.
Yeah. It comes, so don't get me wrong, it creeps up. And in fact, one way I deal with being down is I'll allow myself to be down.
You feel it.
I feel it.
You go through the feeling.
Yeah. But I've set a timeline. Like, if I'm down today, I've given myself to tomorrow, let's say 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, we move.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so dope.
So I allow myself feel it.
Feel it and just
be at home, watch Netflix,
just like
binge on
sulk a bit,
sulk, cry,
and it's like,
God, why me? And then we move tomorrow at 9 a.m.
I think for me, the thought which I've left untended now is perfection.
Perfection. That's a good one.
It doesn't exist. And I think it's a conversation that, like, I see now that, like, just let it exist first. Let it come to life, and you can fine tune it. And it's a conversation that I have a lot with my team. And like, I have someone there that, like, he's low key a perfectionist. He's looking at me now, and like I always say to him, it's like, dude, let's just get it done. Yeah. Right. And it would come to life. Would create it. We'll learn. We'll evolve as we go ahead. And like, and everything that you see out there is it didn't start off that way. Yeah. Even you think about you as a human being, like the person I met years ago is so different now. Yeah. And so I never believed that, like, it has to be perfect. Yeah. And I think it's that kind of removed a lot of pressure from my life, and it made me do more. So I remember when I was going to start this, I moved pretty fast as well, because I said, just Jack, we'll just get it done. Just get it done, yeah. Like, and think about, once you put something out like that, you don't have the opportunity not to do again, because now you're indebted. You put it in the universe, you have to follow through in some capacity. And like, I think what I've nurtured now is the fact that, like, I don't know it now doesn't mean that I wouldn't know it. So I allow myself be a beginner at everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's fantastic. And I'm grateful for that. And yes, I'm grateful for this conversation as well, Jade. This has been super amazing. Yeah. Thanks so much for your time. And now you have to host me in the living room. For sure. Any day, anytime. No, but you said shots. Shots? Yeah, I'm a tequila guy though. All right, let's do it. Friday. We make agbalumo shots now. My invention. And they're popping, yeah. With what? Like agbalumo and what? And tequila. Oof, don't kill me. So come through on Friday. Okay. So if you're watching this, if you've never been to the living room, come through, guys. Coffee is great as well. You know what I mean? But you know, the food is really good. Yeah, I was going to say that. I like all those, like, African style snacks too. Oh yeah. Okay. Dope. You know, we came once with Kenny. We're looking for you. Oh yeah, you mentioned. No, because he went to check out the rooms as well. Oh, he did that day? Oh, okay. You know, like, he's into it as well, so he checked it out. And, like, he was pointing out things to me. I was just a layman. I was like, everything is good. It's like, no, this is why this was on. I was like, okay. Hey, guys, come to the living room. Come and stay at Yellow Door. 2 fantastic spaces. If you don't like it, you get your money back. Okay? Is that so? And where can we find you? Where you we're located in Wuse 2, number 19, Tabaseka, Wuse 2. Oh yeah, now. Uyaka.